to you. We gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to you. We gon' give it to you. We gonna rock, then we gonna roll, then we let it rock, don't let it go. X gon' give it to you. We gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to you. We gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you. Knock, knock, open up the door, it's real. With the non-stop pop and stainless steel. Go hard, getting busy with it. I got such a good heart that I make the motherfucker one day again. Damn right, and I do it again. Cause I am like some got to win. Break bread with the enemy. No matter how many cops I break bread with, I break who you say to me. You motherfuckers never want to know what your life saved.
I miss that dead man.
Me too.
Welcome to episode 106 of White Heat. Yeah, it is December 26th, the day after Christmas. If you celebrated Christmas, hope you enjoyed it. I'm Brian, that's JJ. Today is technically, yes, Boxing Day, if you're Canadian, so hence, happy Boxing Day, eh? And I also believe technically today is Kwanzaa, if I remember correctly. So happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah, today and tomorrow. Yeah.
See, I remember some stuff.
Yeah.
I'm at Brian Katie on the Twitter X machine, thinking bobber. He's at JJ_Alexander. Whew. Mr. Alexander, it's been 5 days since we last saw each other. How are you?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. Wife came home with the plague on Thursday, and I had to avoid it at all costs.
Oh.
So far, so good.
Olay. Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
Relaxed the last few days, though? Not too much on your plate?
Slept a lot.
Oh, I wish I could say that.
Like my sleep schedule was off, but then when I did sleep, it was at like 13-hour clip.
Okay. Well done. Well done. Yeah, I'm.
Because the wife was sick, so we didn't go up to New Hampshire to see her family. So
A plus B just equals C.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Yeah. So, like I mentioned with our last episode, because my schedule the next 3 days is psychotic, and then I'll be announcing 19 basketball games in the span of 3 days. That's why we're here so early this week with episode 106. So, yeah, here we are, ready to roll as per usual.
How was your Christmas? I think you froze for a second.
Oh, all right. Hi.
There you are. I asked how was your Christmas, and it just went froze.
It was fine. Christmas Eve was with my my mother's side of the family. Yesterday was with my dad's side of the family, and we've been seeing Rochelle's my wife's family, sporadically over the last week. So
yeah,
we're getting that out of the way over the course of time. So
yeah. Wifey get you anything good?
I will share one thing I got last night. Orange cello.
Oh, okay.
So I had tried. This is from Springbrook Farm Distillery. It's a local distillery here in upstate New York, based out of Queensbury, which is right in the just almost Lake George area, basically.
Yeah.
So I had tried their limoncello at one point, and it was delightful because it was kind of limoncello that's like you can taste the lemon, but it's not like too much lemon.
Yeah.
So I was encouraged to try their orange cello at some point, and then this was a Christmas present. I was like, ooh.
Nice.
So I have to bust this bad boy open at some point tonight. We'll see. Yeah.
Man, now you really make me miss Billy O's.
Oh boy.
Back in the day when we used to do the radio defiant shit at Billy O's, Billy made homemade limoncello. So once a year or so, he brings them in for us.
Oh,
yeah. Wifey splurged on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got me a new cell phone.
Oh, sweet.
She got me the Moto fucking 5G with a stylus pen because I hate touchscreens. So,
Hello, Moto. Okay.
and stocking stuffer, the sugar-free Russell Stover's Starburst, which are like the greatest thing on the planet.
Interesting.
Yeah, they only come in red, orange, and yellow, but I don't care because they're fucking great.
All right. Okay. Sugar free. Okay. I'll have to look into that. Interesting.
Yeah, so some reason I can only find them at CVS.
Gotcha. Okay. CVS. I'm trying to think if there's one. Oh yeah, we have one in. Okay. Yep. All right. CVS it is. I'll have to go search it. All right. So let's begin with Japanese. Let's begin with New Japan. So Wrestle Kingdom. The card is set in stone.
Okay.
There were at least 2 matches added over the last few days.
Okay.
Just make sure nothing else was added before I announce. All right. So, yep, that's it. Okay. So just 2 matches were added to the card for Wrestle Kingdom next week, which were Yota Tsuji versus Yuya Uemura,
Okay.
who have faced each other a great number of times in the past when they were young lions, but now they are facing each other for the first time in it'll be almost 3 years by the time they get in the ring next weekend.
Okay.
And then the other match is a tag match. Shota Umino and Kaito Kiyomiya against Evil and Ren Narita.
Okay.
Which I don't believe they faced each other at all as in tag team action. So,
Okay.
so those are the two matches that were added.
Mm-hmm.
As far as match order, those are matches 3 and 4 respectively. The opening match of the show is going to be for the IWGP Junior Tag Titles.
Mm-hmm.
TJP and Akira against Clark Connors and Joe Maloney. Match 2 will be the TV title match, Tanahashi against Zack Sabre Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Match 5 is going to be Never Openweight title, Takagi defending against Tonga.
Mm-hmm.
The unification of the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Titles and the Strong Openweight Tag Titles. Hikuleo and El Phantasmo against Goto and Yoshihashi, the Super Tag League winners. 7 will be Takahashi against Desperado for the Junior Heavyweight title. Match 8 will be the triple threat for the new Global Heavyweight Championship as Ospreay, Moxley, and Finlay go at it. Then the co-main event will be Okada and Danielson. And then the main event, obviously, the World Heavyweight title, Sonata defending against Naito, the G1 winner. So that's the order of things in 1 week's time, almost 9 days' time.
Now I'm trying to think. I always forget the name of it. What's the name of the event that they usually do like a week after Wrestle Kingdom at Budokan?
It would be the day after.
Oh, it's the day after.
Yes, it's called New Year Dash, is what I think you're.
New Year's Dash. Yeah, I knew it had something like running or road or something. So yeah, so New Year's Dash. And so I'm just mapping out 2024 a little bit here. So New Japan, they have a New Japan Women's Champion, a Stardom Champion, and a Strong Women's Champion. Correct?
Yes.
So I'm guessing probably New Year's Dash isn't going to happen, but sometime by the end of February, they're going to have a unification of all those 3 belts.
Okay. Also,
because they're getting rid of Strong. So,
right. Well, where we're at right now, as far as their schedule is concerned, you just mentioned the day after show.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've mentioned in passing the San Jose show, which has talents to announce but no actual matches. That will be the second Saturday of the month, the 13th.
I feel like that's going to be like a backlash type of thing where they're going to do like rematches from Wrestle Kingdom or like Fallout matches
Very possible.
for a few people, not like the whole card, obviously, because you're not going to get like the A game, for in the US for New Japan.
Then they have a show in Nagoya on the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go on tour from the 21st until February 10th. Let's see. And that leads up to New Beginning in Osaka, which is their main event in February.
Maybe that's going to be the.
And then that's when they start that 1 week tour with CMLL across Japan that they already announced. Fantastica Mania.
Then maybe they.
And they're doing a 2-day New Beginning in Sapporo, the 23rd and 24th of February, and that's as far as they are booked as of right now for New Japan.
Yeah, I'm guessing like I think New Beginning is going to be the first under like the whole like 9 companies banner type thing.
Right. But Wrestle Kingdom is going to be a little overshadowed, not just from the news of the 9 company merger of sorts that's happening, but also a decision that was announced. It leaked out. I believe they announced it. It was like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I don't remember
I
specifically.
think it was Christmas Eve.
But the official press conference about it was earlier today, as Hiroshi Tanahashi is the new president and representative director for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Quite interesting.
Joining him at the presser today was the current owner of New Japan, who is also the outgoing president, who opened the press conference. He just gave a statement talking about his time in the company and how difficult COVID was. Or excuse me, no, the person who opened it was... okay, I'm sorry. The owner and outgoing president are two different people. My apologies. The owner opened the presser, and then the outgoing president addressed the media, in which he talked about his 5 years as president, or his 5 years of the company, I should say. He joined in 2019 and then became president in October of 2020. And then discussed his time as president, so on and so forth. And then eventually Tanahashi gave a prepared statement as well. And then I believe, they took questions from the media. So, it's Tanahashi is the first wrestler to become president of the company in almost 20 years. The last one was Fujinami. So how do we feel about a wrestler stepping into?
Inoki was never in the president role. He was just the owner.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or he might have been owner and president at one point, and then eventually, I don't know.
Yeah.
But how do we feel about a president? A wrestler stepping in as president for the first time in 2 decades.
Not sure. I mean, I'm not sure what his business acumen is, as far as, outside the ring. I really don't know much about Hiroshi Tanahashi other than his in-ring work. So he might be a great fit, or it might end up being a flop. Like, not quite sure. Or maybe he's just a figurehead to, as everything transitions and the Yakuza takes their piece of the pie.
It's to me, it's just one of those things where all we can do is just wait and see. Honestly, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
There's just no real true reaction can be given at this point, except for crossing your fingers and waiting and seeing what happens. Here's my. To me, the most interesting thing to wait for is to see if there's any kind of relationship that will exist between on a behind the scenes level between him and Gato?
Yeah.
And does this potentially affect any future booking and creative going forward?
Yeah.
Um,
I also don't see him going over at Wrestle Kingdom now because Tanahashi just seems like one of those people that would not put a title on himself if he's going to be in a leadership position.
right. Yeah. Yeah. That kind of spoils that, doesn't it? Just a
Mm.
little bit. But obviously, we wish Tanahashi the best. And we wish the company the best.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is just one of those wait and see moments where, like, everybody's going to have their reservations. Just put it that way. Because obviously, if you look at the history of U.S. wrestling, wrestlers becoming executives is kind of a mixed bag of results. So, Ole Anderson was a mixed bag of results. Some liked him, some didn't. Bill Watts. I mean, you could write some books about Bill Watts.
Ernie Ladd.
Yeah. So, Stu Hart, Fritz von Erich.
Fritz, yeah.
Vern Gagne. I mean,
the Sheik.
Yeah, the Sheik. I am blanking on. Oh, Christ.
Even Robbie Brookside.
Oh, what's the name of the guy? Billy Graham.
Yes.
Think of. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
Eddie Gilbert.
Sordid history. Yes, there's a lot of sordid history you can go through, good and bad.
Right.
Just based on U.S. wrestling, but it'll be interesting to see how this happens in the Japanese side of things. So, that being said, quick about Impact before we move forward.
Well, I know it says New Japan, but we should cover the other bit about Japan that got released as well. All Japan.
Oh,
yes.
So I think this is where you're going. So All Japan was teasing in the last week.
They put up a video on Christmas.
Right. They were teasing somebody from WWE. Originally, I saw it just as WWE.
Oh, so if you you didn't watch the video at all?
I did not, because the way I understood it was they were just teasing a WWE talent.
So he flat out said NXT in the video, because the video was the president of All Japan at home with his family opening Christmas presents, and then his phone rings and he picks it up. He's like, "Oh, WWE," and he starts talking in English, and the subtitles change to Japanese, whereas vice versa before. He's like, "Yes," and he says like, "Tournament NXT, yes," and so. Some people were saying WWE, but he flat out said, and they flat out said an NXT talent would be coming on January 3rd.
Okay. So they announced the talent that is going. Well, not. I think it was more revealed by the father, honestly.
Well, so the graphic was released, and then William went on Twitter and cut a video promo explaining.
Gotcha. So it is Charlie Dempsey.
Yes, there it is.
NXT, who will be Charlie Dempsey will be on the All Japan card, which is the day before Wrestle Kingdom. It looks like.
Yeah, on the 3rd.
So good for Troy to get the international exposure, and obviously hope for the best for him.
Yeah, Regal got a good promo basically talking about the lineage of European wrestlers and catch can style in Japan, going back to Billy Robinson and himself and all that stuff, and how he's basically trying to continue the tradition of the European style being part of the Japanese product. And it was a good video. Everything Regal said was great. It was, you could tell he shot it with his cell phone in his house. So like, it didn't have that professional vibe to it. It would have been nice if like he had a family member, but like, hold on here, let's give you a green screen. Let's give you a mic here, make it look a little better. But I mean, it was fine, for on the fly. Cause I guarantee he did it, on like a day's notice, if that.
Right.
Where'd you go?
All right.
Over here.
All right. Real quick, let's just transfer over to TNA Impact.
I'm gonna be a good boy. I'm gonna be a good boy. There you go.
Oh, Jesus. So, um, as we mentioned last week, last Thursday was part one of back-to-back best of shows for the year for
Yes.
Impact. So this Thursday will be the second one,
Mhm.
and then there'll be an Impact next Thursday, which would be the fourth. And that'll be 9 days out from their Hard to Kill event, which is Saturday the 13th in Vegas. They have since our last update of the card, they have booked 3 more matches
Oh wow.
officially, and they are all going to be part of a 1 hour long countdown show to the pay per view, which is going to be starting at 7 p.m. and will be exclusively on TNA Plus. It will not be on pay per view. It will not be on Triller TV. It'll be just on TNA Plus. Um, the first of those 3 matches announced was Rich Swann 1-on-1 against Steve Macklin.
Okay.
Second is a tag match with Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers against Eric Young and Frankie Kazarian.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third is the digital media title match between Tommy Dreamer and the challenger Crazy Steve,
Mm-hmm.
which will be a no disqualification match,
Right.
as it's been announced.
Yeah.
But there was
which I was almost on the ball on that. I thought it was going to be a Monsters Ball match, but no DQ is pretty close.
Pretty close. However, there's been one other announcement.
Oh.
It just came out this morning.
Oh.
And I'm sure you didn't see it. That's why I'm happy to announce this. Also on the card for Hard to Kill. Now, there's no announcement about them actually signing TNA contracts long term. They've only been announced by themselves for Hard to Kill. Grizzled young veterans will be on the Hard to Kill card on January the 13th in Las Vegas.
Okay.
I'm
happy that they're showing up there and not AEW.
Yep, they put out a promo video that was released by TNA about 2 hours ago, promoting their appearance. So they will be on the card. Now they did reference 2 teams specifically, but I don't know if they're going to be booked against them. They did reference the Rascals and Ace Austin and Chris Bay in the promo.
Okay.
But again, I don't know if that means that's who they're facing specifically, or that was just them putting it out there.
I think it's because aren't those the 2 teams in the tag title match?
Yes.
So it's basically saying we're gunning for the tag titles. Right. So they maybe it may just be a short-term thing, but I mean they'll do well. They'll do well in TNA. They were a team that I think Pritchard really did them dirty, and Sean just continued it.
Right.
Because they had momentum going, and they were stuck in NXT for way too long. Like they could work and they could talk, and like they just kept doing stupid shit with them. Like I'm not saying Gacy's stable there. I'm not saying that was bad. It was just an odd fit for them considering everything they had done. But then it's like they took that, they yanked him off TV. Then they did those stupid vignettes to turn them into fucking British grifters, which was just stupid. And it really killed their momentum. Like, I think that they should have been on the main roster in 2020.
And the crazy thing is, even though the gimmick originally killed them, I feel like they still did the best they could with it.
They did. They
made it work.
They definitely were one of those, gonna make lemonade out of whatever we're given type of teams, which I commend them for. I just thought it was shitty that they kept getting dealt more and more lemons.
Agreed.
I mean, and plus, like, right there, like, just because of history and training and everything, you put them in there a subculture, they're gonna throw out there's a fucking good 4-month feud for you if you want.
Exactly. All right. Shall we move to the angry part of the show for you?
Yeah, because I got a lot to say.
Well, there's something very specific I want to start with. We're not even going to touch on the in-ring stuff right away.
Okay.
So, in the midst of the changes that have been going on within AEW,
Uh-huh.
there's two specifically that caught my eye. One has caught the eye of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We'll touch on that second.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one that caught my eye,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to remember the name of the fella specifically. Digging.
Was it Raphael Morphy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, and you can by all means tell me if I'm incorrect, but if I remember properly, the title he held within AEW was some of the lines of like VP of ticket sales and live events, something along that nature.
Yeah, he was basically the one who had to contact all the venues and book all the venues and all that stuff.
So he was essentially the AEW version of kind of what Bubba Ray Dudley was taking on the final months of ECW.
Yeah, or or what Jarrett was doing in that very brief time when he came back to WWE before Trips released him.
Correct.
Except Jarrett was only handling house shows. He wasn't handling TV.
Right. So now the reason that caught my eye is that it's one thing for one of the multitude of wrestlers to step away from their EVP roles. I couldn't really care less about that. I mean, obviously Cody was one thing, but I mean, like, if it was one of the wrestlers just step away from their EVP role because they can't handle the stress anymore, or whatever the fuck it may be, I don't know.
Let's call a spade a spade. All three EVPs shouldn't be EVPs. They belong nowhere near a corporate structure.
I'm just throwing shit against the wall for reasons they would not want to do it. That's all. Whatever. I won't think much of it. Nobody honestly should if that ever happens. But for somebody who's a legitimate suit behind the scenes, especially in the department of anything to do with the live events and booking towns of the sort, it should, at least for a second, cause somebody to step back and think for a little bit and reflect and wonder why this is. And maybe, just maybe, just throwing it out there, this guy might already have seen the writing on the wall that Tony's not fucking seeing. And he's like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Right. That's everyone is like thinking they're like, because they're seeing these changes in the corporate structure, everyone's saying that it's either Tony is just trying to clean slate it to go in a different direction, or these people are jumping off the Titanic. And I am very much inclined to say it's the latter. As far as Raphael Morphy goes, like you're talking, I'd bet dollars to donuts that Raphael talked to Tony and said, listen, going forward, because it's time to start booking 2024, we need to run smaller venues. We need to cut back. We need to look at smaller places. We need to run more often at dailies. We need to find something that's more cost effective. And Tony Khan threw a fucking tantrum and said, no, because if we do smaller, they're going to see it on TV and it's going to make me look like I gave up. And I talked about this last week. It's Tony's ego. And so Raphael Morphy basically said, I can't. Like, I'm not going to go through this for another year of having to deal with these arenas and having to book out and be like, oh, well, we need to do a setup that's a third of what you can hold. And we need to not have tickets for sale and this, and this. It's like the arenas will be like, yeah, okay, we'll take your money for you to come rent the arena. But when you're doing that, you're basically you're hamstringing the venue and whatever corporation the venue is running, because they need to look at how many people they need to keep on staff for the day, how many concession stands need to be opened, how many security, how many attendants, how many janitorial, yada, yada, yada. And they need to employ the same amount of people no matter what your setup is. So and then what happens is you've got concessions food that may go to waste. You've got people standing around to do nothing because there's not that many people there. Like it's wasted man hours of pay for them. So this is just Tony being a child again.
Essentially. Now, obviously that comes with Kevin Sullivan being let go.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with QT Marshall leaving the promotion.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the other departure that's making bigger news.
Which I don't understand why. Raphael Murphy should be the fucking headline.
The Chief Marketing and Merchandising Officer, Dana Massey, is leaving as well. Which, for those of you who are not aware, is the wife of Matt Jackson from the Young Bucks. Now, obviously,
bitch should have never had the job in the first place.
If you understand the humble beginnings, quote unquote, of this company, Dana was there obviously from day one, helping sell merchandise in the promotion, and even helping them with selling merch for All Out, the original All Out, before the company was even born, technically. All In, whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck it, whatever. All In, All Out, tomato,
Yeah.
fuck them. So apparently what happened is promotion did try re-signing her, but she opted against it. So here is... Since then, here's what has come out. And I'm going to label this rumor and conjecture, honestly, because it's coming out of Meltzer's mouth. Wouldn't shock me if it's the truth, but I'm still going to read this off anyways.
Okay.
So this is what Meltzer is saying. Quote, I think what happened with everything that happened over the last year with her husband and brother-in-law, vilified and never defended and never being allowed to defend themselves because of NDAs, and the company never defending them, it made it really difficult. The Young Bucks re-signed. They didn't go to WWE basically because they got a great offer to stay, and it was the best thing for the family. Because it was the best thing financially to stay. They all agreed to the majority vote to stay with AEW. That was one of the things they all agreed to, so they stayed. With her, I think it just got too tough. I'm sure there are other things too, but that was a lot of it. The fact that she felt they were never defended at a time when they probably should have been defended by the company. There was a situation where Punk went after her too, and she was never defended either at that point.
Oi. Okay, if there's any truth to that, she can shut the fuck up, because the Bucks still have fucking jobs. And not only that, they're still double dipping with 2 paychecks. So fuck off with your they won't defend you. They still have jobs. I don't give a fuck about NDAs, which we'll get to that in a bit. They still have jobs. They're still in Tony's pocket. They're still in both of Tony's pockets, because they're getting a fucking talent check and an EVP check. They're getting fucking medical benefits for the whole fucking family. So of course that's what, and it's just, she should have never had that job to begin with. She was the merch girl for the Young Bucks. She would ship out all their stuff. If you ordered Young Bucks merch, she would be the one to package it. She would be the one to take care of ordering the shirts from the printer or printing the shirts in-house, whatever she was doing, and shipping them out. That was her job. That's a cottage industry. When you're doing it for one talent, it's a cottage industry. It's not that fucking hard to do. You know, I have a fucking home-based business. You know, fucking, I am slowly rebuilding it up to where I will be doing national shipping again, and I will have a website, and I will be doing e-commerce. But I know my own bounds. If somehow I start blowing up, I know that I'm going to need to hire people. I know that I cannot handle it myself. I do handmade stuff, but if it gets to a certain point, I'm going to need the extra help. This is a chick who's just like, oh, how hard could it be? We've got Colt Cabana's fucking company making all our shirts for us. That's all we got to do. And she's like, all I got to do is okay designs to put on shirts. Sure. So this is the bitch. That's the reason we got Big Black and Jacked on a shirt. This is the bitch that thought that selling a picture of Britt Baker's face with a black eye would sell. She okayed that. This is a bitch who didn't have the foresight to think, guess what? Let's see. How long has Sting been with the company?
3 years, 4 years, something like that.
And he's on his farewell tour right now, right? He's having his last match at Revolution.
He doesn't have a shirt commemorating the farewell tour, does he?
No, he doesn't. But there's also something else that they just started selling this week. I'll give you a hint. It was one of the hottest selling items in WCW.
Sting masks?
Yep. Literally, for the past 3.5 years, you could not buy a Sting mask from AEW. Money out the window. They could have been selling knockoff Burberry scarves. I mean, granted, they released that one scarf that said mid, whatever,
right.
And everyone's like, oh, Burberry's fucking trademark. Yeah, Burberry's trademark, but the fucking pattern is not. Because you can go to any fucking flea market to the knockoff people and buy fake Burberry print shit. They could have been selling fake Burberry scarves at a fucking mint since the beginning of the fucking company. Never thought it. Like, literally, you could make the fake Burberry print and just do the MJF crest, like, little thing down by the fucking fringe. You could have made fucking mint. What? I'm just a small town indie promoter, and I'm telling you, this is shit that would have sold. But no, this bitch goes and says, oh, I'll just do this instead. And on top of it, she's the one. She was in charge of making sure merch was at the shows. Numerous accounts from people all over the country saying, I go to an AEW show and there's jack shit at the merch table. There's like 4 shirts available, if that. And just a whole bunch of, oh, well, you can go, you just got to go to shop AEW. You go to Pro Wrestling Tees, you get it all there. People impulse buy at the fucking event. That's why, like, I never, like, well, unless I'm at a concert and it's a tour t-shirt, I don't buy at the event because I know the items are jacked up in price. I'll buy a WWE shirt when they're running one of those sales or when there's a clearance on the website because I'm not paying $40 for a t-shirt. And AEW is sitting here running it through, and I'm sorry, but Pro Wrestling Tees is a sloppy shop. Like their shirts are terrible. You wear them once and the threads are pulling out, or the iron-on patch is starting to crack. It's like, okay, let me make an example. This shirt that I'm wearing right here. Stand up. This is a shirt that I bought from a company called Fright Rags. It's a Big Trouble in Little China shirt. It's, Lopan and the Monster and all that. Big John Carpenter fan. It's still in pretty nice condition. Want to know when I bought this shirt? You there? 2009.
That was nowhere close to where I was going to guess.
Because they make quality products. Now I could pull out my fuck Dave Meltzer Bruce Pritchard shirt that the wifey got me for my birthday one year that I wore twice and is falling apart. It's somewhere around here. I don't know. Wore it twice, went through the wash once, falling apart. So you've got low quality merch and you've got someone who's in charge of making sure the merch is stocked who's not doing their job. And she's doing everything from home. It's not like the as far as I know, I think the AEW corporate offices is just Tony Khan's office in Jacksonville at the stadium, right? Probably. They don't actually have like a corporate headquarters. Like, because God forbid You know, you've noticed that like everything is compartmentalized with AEW because Tony refuses to take any help in this. You got one person who's doing this, you got one person who's doing that, and like God knows they're probably all working from home essentially. So I mean, because Raphael Morphy's probably working out of Jacksonville Stadium.
You are correct. That is the corporate office.
Ha!
Because if you go to the bottom of the AEW website, the address is One Everbank Stadium Drive, Jacksonville, Florida.
Right. So so I guarantee the Buck's wife who lives in California isn't commuting to fucking Jacksonville. So she was doing everything out of the home. She was getting paid God knows how much for this position. I mean, you figure if the EVPs are all getting $250K a year for the EVP position, she was making at least $175 a year, if not more, to basically do nothing. And the thing is, Tony probably didn't say anything to her because, I don't want to make the Bucks mad because I want everyone to be my friend. So she just ran a shitty fucking shop for the past few years. And now she's like, she knows that she's in over her fucking head. And maybe, in all honesty, maybe they all see the fucking writing on the wall that the company's not going to get renewed by Warner. And she just wants to jump ship now. And she's like, I don't have to worry about medical benefits because my husband's still an EVP, so he still gets medical benefits. My husband's collecting 2 fucking paychecks from this guy. Why am I going to work? I'll stay home with the fucking kids.
You ain't wrong. By the way, I happened to go to shopaew.com while you were in the midst of your diatribe there.
Uh-huh.
So they have a Continental Classic t-shirt with the faces of everybody that was in the tournament. They have... There's even t-shirts for Abaddon and Sky Blue.
Well, yeah, because they started using Abaddon the past couple of weeks, so they got to have her shit on because he's in the title match.
Listed as new arrivals. That actually makes sense now. How'd you like to spend $50 on a Hook action figure?
Fuck that.
I shit you not. It's $49.99.
For a fuck... Oi! The limited edition not released in retail.
Probably.
Actual size.
Something like that. Oh, goodness gracious.
It's terrible.
Get the fuck out of here.
What?
So, I forgot about this. They made scarves specifically for All In London.
Okay.
But don't have a scarf for MJF.
Right. They had that one back like 2 years ago that said mid on it in fucking royal calligraphy. But that was it. Because I saw some people debating about it. Was like, why don't you make knockoff Burberry scarves? And someone took a picture of one of them, like, tell me you don't pay attention to the product without saying it. It's like, motherfucker, that was 2 years ago. It's fucking Sting and Jericho both bring baseball bats. Why aren't you selling foam baseball bats?
I don't know.
Like, literally, this is shit that I can just come up with off the top of my fucking head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a matter of, lack of communication on all behalves when it comes to the corporate structure of that company. And they're just, she was never like, I'm pretty sure she like has no business degree, no marketing degree, anything like that. She's probably a high school graduate, which I'm not knocking. Like, I've only gotten associates, but at least I studied business and I still study business independently. because you kind of need to know what you're doing. It's more than putting t-shirts in a priority mail envelope and sending them out.
Want to hear something funny?
Sure.
I just went to their top sellers for the past year section of the website.
CM Punk, Danhausen, MJF.
These are not in any particular order, but yes, they are still selling a CM Punk shirt.
Uh-huh.
One of the best-selling shirts on the website is for somebody who's not even alive.
Owen Hart.
No.
Brody Lee.
No. You're getting there. Come on. They just had a 6-man tag fight without honor.
Oh, Jay Briscoe.
Yes.
And like, for all the fucking belts Tony has, the only replica belt they sell is the AEW belt.
I will double check that right now, actually. Please hold. Title belts and belt accessories. It's just the only one that they have 3, actually, but it's the only one that they publicize. By the way, it's out of stock right now. Out of the 3 that they have, that's the one that's out of stock. So I don't know why you would publicize the one that's out of stock.
What are the other 2 that they have?
The TNT and the World Tag Belts.
Oh, I'm amazed. Yeah, remember a couple of months ago they were selling replicas of the new trios belts, and they wanted $6,000 a piece for them.
That's dead and gone.
Yep.
Oh, this. Let me go to the clearance section out of curiosity.
Yeah, please. And the thing, yeah, and you can judge a company you can judge companies like that on their clearance section. Because like WWE's clearance section, like you can get some good deals on there at times. But
it may be a clearance section, but nothing is a clearance price. It's all $29.99 t-shirts.
Yeah, that's a clearance price because they're usually fucking 35 or 40.
But all the shirts I'd seen in their regular section were $29.99 as well. Like, what the fuck?
Well, like I said, this is what happens when you got one of the Bucks fucking wives fucking doing your merch for you. You know, I guarantee she knows nothing about coding or e-commerce or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make fucking sense to me, but whatever. What do I know? All right. All right, let's try to get to actual. Let's see. Was there anything else? No. All right, we'll come back to out of the ring stuff in a minute because the other thing we have to discuss is just fucking hilarious. Let's get into the actual in-ring shit. Rampage. I didn't watch it. I know you didn't probably watch it.
Nope.
So, all right, let me just roll through Rampage quick.
Wings!
What the fuck was that?
It was just Ric Flair.
Oh.
Wings!
Okay, Rick. Wow.
You haven't seen the Rick's new fucking Woo Wings?
God, I'll look it up later. Jesus
Dude,
Christ.
I'll send you the link. It's a bad commercial, but it's even better if you watch the clip of fucking Cornette and Last trying to fucking make their way through it and just dying of laughter.
Okay. So Rocky Romero got another international championship match. Where the fuck was I for this?
Along with the rest of the population not watching Rampage.
Well, Cassidy retained, in case you're curious.
My surprise face.
And Tony interviews Chris Statlander backstage. She says things are cool between her and Willow. Then Stokely shows up. Basically trying to continue causing a rift between Statlander, Willow, and best friends, basically.
Yeah, they're trying to break up the best friends now. Like anyone cares about that stable that's not hardly a stable anymore.
Right.
Like, it was hardly a stable to begin with. It was always Orange Cassidy, and the Fuckleberry Bunch was there when needed.
Brian Cage cuts a promo on Keith Lee for their match the next night on Collision.
Yay.
Santa
Hat Keith Lee.
The Kingdom beats the Hardys.
Gotta love the Hardys are just they're legends in their own minds at this point.
Renee interviews Ruby Soho backstage. Angela Parker walks in, asks Ruby to go out with him for a drink. Saraya interrupts.
Boy.
Tells Ruby basically tells Ruby to go to the locker room for something. I can't remember. And then
like, are we a stable this week or are we not?
Right. And then Saraya calls Angelo a piece of shit and says he'll never take Ruby away from her. That's nice.
Boy.
Sky Blue beats Queen Aminata. And then El Hijo
Natalie Portman?
I fucking know. And then El Hijo de Vikingo defeats Black Taurus to retain the AAA Mega Championship. And I've come to a very honest conclusion about El Hijo del Vikingo.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think he doesn't know what the fuck he's going to do half the time he jumps off the rope.
Oh yeah, that was the match where everyone, like, there was this sequence that fucking everyone was up in arms about, because it was like Vikingo did a poison Rana, and then he did something else, dropping Taurus on his head, and Taurus just popped up and fucking speared him.
Something like that, yeah.
And people are like, well, no, that's lucha. I'm like, no, that is not lucha. I'm like, just because the people are Mexican and they do high spots does not make it lucha. And I was like, go back and watch CML pre-2015. And that's fucking lucha. Like, is lucha fast-paced? Yes. But it's not high spot, high spot, high spot, high spot, two count. That's not lucha.
Correct.
Like, people just don't seem to get it. These people have never watched actual Lucha Libre. The closest they have is they've watched Lucha Underground, which also was not lucha.
Right. All right. To Collision. Oh boy. All right. No Classic tournament. Danielson and Claudio go to a time limit draw.
The one draw in the fucking whole thing.
Great. So that auto advanced Danielson to the Blue League finals, and Claudio is out.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Acclaimed retain the trios titles over Top Flight and Action Andretti.
Oh yeah, that's right. Remember, these things exist.
Castro apparently was using the tights to get the pin, but the fans, I don't know, the fans are just fucking stupid and cheered for them anyways. So whatever.
So he's trying to flip the Acclaimed heel again because reasons.
Then we got Keith Lee beating Brian Cage.
Santa Hat Keith Lee.
And then Keith Lee got on the mic and, oh Christ, they're gonna have Keith Lee go after Swerve again. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, long-term storytelling, bro. They never fucking close that up, so now's the time.
Let it go. Let it go.
No, man, they let it simmer for a good year. This is gonna be great.
Renee Young and Tony Storm backstage. Then Mariah May walks in. Tony acts like she's never met Mariah.
Mm-hmm.
Mariah says she's got an American wrestling license approved. She's ready to go. Doesn't reveal when she's going to debut. Okay, whatever. Then we get Christian Cage and Nick Wayne in the ring. They eventually bring out, what the fuck is her name?
Jizzy Wayne.
Mama Wayne. I don't fucking
Yeah.
know what her name is. Whatever.
I forget her name too. It's not important. Yeah, didn't
And
they name her the matriarch?
they let her fucking talk on the mic, which was cringe.
Oi.
Then Big Bill and Ricky Starks get interviewed about
The tag titles.
they decided to joke about Kenny Omega's
Yep.
sickness, whatever.
Which once again makes me wonder how legit it is.
And then Jericho says he'll find a partner somewhere. Sure. Then Garcia beats Brody King to eliminate him from the Continental Classic.
To see that they made Brody King into a beast, and then they got Daniel Garcia to beat him, so that makes Daniel Garcia a superstar because he beat the beast.
Well, then it gets more confusing because after the match, lights go out. Malachi and buddies show up. They're about to beat the shit out of Garcia. Daddy Magic comes out to try to help. He's laid out. But then guess who comes out to fucking help in the end? FTR.
Yep.
I get they have a beef with House of Black, but
well, this is how we're going to get Daniel Garcia over, because now Daniel Garcia is going to embrace that he's a wrestler, and he's going to team with FTR.
Thunder Rosa makes her in-ring return in a tag match with Abaddon against Sky Blue and Julia Hart. 6 months after fucking Collision fucking first airs, and she was supposed to be on the first episode. Thunder Rosa and Abaddon win. And I believe Abaddon's now getting a shot at the TBS title against Julia Hart, but don't. She is. No, she is. She is. It's Then we end the show with Eddie Kingston beating Andrade, which eliminates Andrade from
now
the class. Oh wait, well, okay. So technically, that created a three-way tie. But
well, no. Here's what I want to talk about here. Here's the results now. This is where I need to get into how much this tournament makes no fucking sense. Okay, so Gold League, we already know, three-way tie at 12, so we get a three-way on Wednesday, which I talked about last week.
I can explain this because I know where you're going with this.
Well, no, so here we go. So Danielson outright has the most points in the Blue League.
Right.
But the second place is tied between Andrade and Kingston. So shouldn't it be a fucking three-way between them two?
No.
Why not? Why not?
The tie is only for second place, and Eddie won the head-to-head, so Eddie goes on.
What do you mean the head-to-head?
Eddie beat Andrade. Those are the two that are tied for second place. So,
but they're still tied.
But why would you reward Andrade for losing to the other guy that's tied with him? Because fucking it makes sense for the Gold League because they all beat each other. They're all 1-1 against each other.
But Tony put so much emphasis on the fucking points, the bullshit of the points. So you got two guys who are tied for points. So it shouldn't matter who beat who if you're gonna fucking play it that way. You got two. They either need to have a runoff with another match, or you make that a fucking three-way too. Otherwise, I'm sorry, it makes no sense in the grand scheme of things. If someone walks in off the street and says, "Oh, a tournament? Oh, based on points? Oh, here's the bracket. Why is this other guy not in it?"
Dude, I get what you're trying to say.
It makes no sense, dude.
I get what you're trying to say. But this is actually the one time I'm gonna be okay with them not moving Andrade into the final as well.
I don't care about the people involved. I just care that Tony Khan made this big fucking deal out of this fucking points bullshit with this stupid ass round robin tournament and could have had 1,000 different fucking outcomes. So it didn't look like this. But no, he couldn't. Why? Because Tony Khan can't fucking book. He could have easily fucking had fucking Andrade go to a draw somewhere else. And so he would have ended with 8 points or ended with 7 points and been fucking boom out of the contention. Would have been fucking fine. But now this makes no sense. And then I don't know if they aired the fucking face-to-face promo between Kingston and Danielson or not. Is there anything in the results there about a face-to-face promo afterwards?
It says they had a confrontation. I don't know.
Yeah, Danielson basically buried Kingston on the mic. Said Kingston's never beaten me. Kingston's a fucking bum. Literally F-bomb. Kingston's a fucking bum. And that he'll never fucking beat me. Like,
Nice.
bro, basic 101 promo. You don't bury your fucking opponent.
Nice.
Literally calls Eddie Kingston a fucking bum. Stupid.
Sweet.
Stupid. Bryan Danielson is a technical fucking master in the ring. Can't cut a promo, can't fucking book.
Nice. So, looking to this week, Dynamite and Rampage Dynamite Live and then pre-taping Rampage will happen tomorrow in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
And then no Collision this weekend because they're doing World's End.
Right, because God
Saturday.
forbid you fucking and I mentioned this fucking like last month for whatever they did. Why not fucking talk to fucking Turner about airing Collision at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever and making that your fucking pre-show for the pay-per-view, just like the old Sunday Night Heat, and be like, blah, 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 blah. Here's the hype for the pay-per-view. We're almost out of time. Call your pay-per-view provider. Here's how. Come watch us on pay-per-view.
And this is where we are at with the two cards respectively. Tomorrow night, the Gold League Final Triple Threat, Moxley, Swerve, and Jay White. The Blue League Final, Eddie versus Danielson. And ROH tag titles will be defended, MJF and Joe versus two of the Devil's Masked Men. Because reasons.
Right. So tomorrow night, this is my guess for that. At least if they're fucking smart, because MJF is fucking hurt. Have Joe turn on MJF and fucking have them drop the fucking tag belts to the fucking dudes in the masks and fucking do the unveiling of who the fucking devil is.
Mm-hmm.
Just get it out of the way before the pay-per-view. Don't go into the pay-per-view waiting for it. But I mean, you got to get those fucking stupid ass tag belts off of fucking MJF. You got to do that first and foremost.
Okay. And then as far as World's End is concerned for Saturday night at the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, 5 matches currently booked. The finals of the Continental Classic. Christian Cage defending the TNT title against Adam Copeland, no DQ. Julia Hart defending the TBS title against Abaddon. Toni Storm defending the Women's World title against Riho. And the AEW World title match, MJF against Samoa Joe. So that's where we're at with that. Obviously, we know there's going to be more matches announced over the course of the next 72 hours between Dynamite and Rampage.
We got to have 15 matches on that card.
I don't know if they're going to announce that many, but the card will probably double in size, I'll guess, to 10. That'd be my guess.
Did you see the other viral picture that came out of Collision on Saturday?
Viral picture from Collision on
of
Saturday.
The security guard?
You'll have to educate me. I didn't. Well, I mean, look at the match that it was during.
He pulled a Mike Tyson. Remember when Tyson fell asleep watching AEW?
Do you blame the guy for the match that was on?
Nope.
Exactly. So, fuck it. Like, okay. I would have been the same way. All right. So let's address the elephant in the room that's been the hubbub of social media the last 48 hours. Let me start it by asking this question.
Yes, sir.
Is Jericho that fucking bored? Like, who fucking cares at this point?
I think he was looking for attention because he's a narcissist, but I also think he was drunk. I think he was drunk tweeting.
I don't fucking get it. Who cares? Who fucking cares? Like, it's Punk is fired. Dana Massey is leaving now.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't one of the Jacksons step down from being an EVP, or am I just dreaming that?
No.
Okay, well, I mean, the Bucks have seemingly moved on.
The Bucks are sitting at home collecting 2 checks right now to do nothing. Not even shooting their fucking YouTube show.
Kenny is going through a gut check, literally and figuratively, right now.
Supposedly.
Cody wasn't even there. Hangman is wherever. Fuck where he is since what was the fucking show with the Texas Death Match last month with Swerve? Whatever.
And he's still talking about Swerve.
I mean, like, who fucking cares at this point? Who fucking cares? Like it shouldn't be a thing anymore. But what the fuck do I know? Just
meanwhile, Stephen P. News getting the most social media engagements he's ever gotten.
Yeah, like what the fuck is with that?
Like I've always so prior to like a couple of years ago, like during COVID, I think it was funny because like I wasn't listening to Cornette's podcast at the time, but I was watching MLW, and Stephen P. New used to run commercials during MLW. And every time he ran a commercial, me and the wife would sit here and she's like, is this an actual lawyer? Or like, is this like a manager? Like, is this like a wrestling vignette? And I'm like, I don't know. But then like, yeah, sure enough, like he's actually a lawyer and everything. And he represents a lot of talents, including Punk and Cornette. I mean, besides Cornette, advertising for him on the show. But yeah, it's funny. Like Stephen P. New is a very humble individual. Like he's one of those guys, like you can tell, like the commercials that he shot, like definitely took him a long ass time to get the right take. Because and I'm not knocking the guy at all, but they felt very cable access. If you get my drift. You see those local commercials for the local orthodontist. Come down and I'll fix your child's teeth. Like, not really like camera friendly in a dialogue sort of manner. There was something that really funny came out of it because them going back, the whole employee handbook thing and this, that, and the other thing. And I never signed an NDA. There's 2 things that I found that were quite hilarious. Here's one.
Wow.
Got a point. Signed an NDA for your wife was on January 6th. Yeah. And then there was this other one. I had to look up who this person is. Apparently, she's just an online influencer with an OnlyFans that's apparently very popular. Morgan Holly Moore. Yeah, apparently a lot of AEW guys were all up in her DMs, and she's got info.
Well, I mean, I wonder why. Look at her profile picture.
I mean, yeah, she's a very good looking girl. Like, I'll give her that. It's like I had never heard of her, and then when I had to Google her, I was just like, oh look, OnlyFans is like the first link that pops up. I'm like, hey, you making money? Good for you.
Sure.
Never gonna knock anyone that's making a living. My rent was paid for years by slinging smut. So do what you got to do.
I don't know. I just don't. It's just. Not only do I not care, but like the timing is just so fucking dumb.
It is. Well, I guess because everything just came out because word came out that Punk's NDA is a lifetime NDA. So basically, no one's ever going to find out what happened that day.
Yay.
Like, no one cares at this point because anyone with a logical standpoint can look back without looking at the whole picture. Like me, I can look at the whole picture because I can't stand anyone who was involved. So that's the most impartial you're going to get. And I will tell you, this is the cut and dry thing. Punk talks shit. acted like a child. The Bucks decided to retaliate by acting like children. Everyone acted like children. Everyone got into a sissy boy slap fight. Everyone was guilty. Everyone was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
There is no right or wrong on this. Everyone was a stupid, fucking petulant child. Everyone involved. End of story.
Let's check and see if I have anything else in my.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about the newest signing.
Thank you for reminding me. Come close. Come close. Come close. Can you take that off the screen? Katsuyori Shibata is trying to become the real life Japanese version of Randy the Ram.
Yep.
He wants to. Now, obviously, I'm speaking based off the information I have. I don't know the motherfucker, okay? But all the evidence is pointing to him wanting to die in the ring.
Yeah.
Why is anybody placating to that wish for this motherfucker? The best, though, was the New Japan response. It was like, okay, good for you. Enjoy, basically. Like, that was essentially the New Japan response.
Right. Like,
even they know this is a fucking stupid thing.
Right. They tried to placate him for a long ass time. They're like, we can't do this. We like when the fucking Yakuza says we can't have this on our conscience.
That's saying something.
Like, this reminds me. It's like basically it's and this is what AEW has become. If you're injured, if no one will clear you, just go to AEW. Because we've seen their doctors clear people who are clearly concussed to keep working a match. We've seen them clear people who should not be in the fucking ring. It reminds me of the old Jim Jeffries bit from his first fucking stand-up special, where he talked about it because he's from Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Oh, your blood pressure is risking getting high, and your cholesterol. I want you to start taking medication." And he goes, "I don't want to." And the doctor's like, "Well, you fucking have to." And so then he moved to England. Then he goes for a physical in England. And the doctor's like, "Oh, you're good." And he's like, "What about my doctor in Australia?" So, my blood pressure and my cholesterol and everything. He goes like, "Oh, those Aussies with their soccer and, with all their calisthenics and sports, you're fine." So he goes, "So I figured out, as my health deteriorates, I'll just keep moving to different countries until eventually I'm the healthiest person in Ethiopia." You only got HIV. It's not even full-blown AIDS.
Jesus Christ.
That's what AEW is.
It's just your brain that's not working. That's not important.
He had a shibotomy. He's okay.
You're so funny.
That was Brian last. That was not me. It stuck with me. I thought I was like, that's funny. I'm taking that.
One last thing about AEW.
Okay. I had one thing too, but go ahead.
Even these two knew AEW was shit and ended up going to NXT.
Who is that?
Thea Hale.
Yep.
And Kiana James.
Oh, didn't something happen?
They both wrestled matches on AEW TV at one point before they were officially signed to NXT.
Ah.
I saw that post. I just was like, huh. Even they knew. Even they knew.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just do my one-off shot and get the fuck out of here.
Uh-huh. Now I want here's something I want you to really think about here. So I found this. Here is a graphic of all of the people who signed full-time contracts with AEW this year.
Oh Christ! Osprey, White, Shibata, Copeland, Strong, Kota Ibushi, Osio, Nigel, Taya. You wouldn't know Taya signed a full, but whatever.
No shit.
All right, so let's run through this. Osprey hasn't been seen in a couple of months
Because he officially can't start until February. Yeah.
Right. Jay White. Oh, I mean, he's been a focal point. Okay. Shibata. When he feels like it, I guess.
Yeah.
Ibushi has been in what, 2 matches?
Yep, and he looks like a fucking. He looks like he hasn't hit the gym since fucking 2021.
Okay. Strong's been a focal point on TV. Copeland's been
kind of there
with Collision. Yeah,
he's had 2 matches.
Aussie Open. They've been
Kyle.
around.
Well, no, good. Kyle Fletcher. They just put the ROH TV title on because the other dude's injured.
Right.
And Kyle, and when they signed them, Kyle Fletcher was injured.
But generally speaking, they've at least been consistently around. Mark Briscoe, the most consistency he had was the last 5 weeks. Nigel, I mean, Nigel's been on. He's on Collision every week, isn't he?
I think so. Supposedly, he wants to get back in the fucking ring.
Oh Christ Almighty! Mariah May.
Once again, Mariah May gets out of the match.
She's in the midst of the Tony Storm thing, so that she's getting TV time.
Mm-hmm.
Sky Blue is she joining the House of Black? That's kind of where I'm at this point. Taya, non-existent. Stu Grayson, non-existent. Except I think he was on the pre-show for. I think he was on the pre-show for what you call it, fucking Final Battle.
No, that was Taya.
I think Grayson was on there too, though.
Was he? Because I just remember how Grayson got released and was released for like a year, and then because they were in Canada, they brought him back, and they're like, "Oh, we re-signed him," and you haven't fucking seen him on TV since.
Right. Commander
is jobber extraordinaire because Dragon Lee signed with NXT.
Right, and he's also been on ROH, and then Nick Wayne. Well, we know what he's been a part of. Was there a point to you showing the graphic, by the way? Before, sorry, I totally distracted you. The whole thing.
No, I just wanted to make the point of these are all the people that have been signed this year to full-time contracts on top of what he already had on the fucking roster, because
right.
That's how many people he signed, and then how many people have left or been released.
All right, Punk.
Mm-hmm. Jade Pillman.
Right. Huh.
That's it.
That's a good question. There's got to be somebody else. There's got to be somebody else that I'm forgetting. Fuck.
He just keeps everyone in the fucking toy box, dude.
Yeah, you'd have to really dig to figure out the answer to that, because, I can't.
All right. Mind you, we talked about this a couple months ago. Abaddon was one of the people that was one of the co-authors on that book that's coming out about getting paid to do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Working with Tony Khan. Sunny Kiss got released this year.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Sunny's in a much better place now.
Right. Okay.
Also, thank God I found this, because this is going to be a staple on the show from here on in.
What's this?
This is just wonderful, because I know we'll get use out of it.
Yep. Yep. Who the fuck is that next to Vince? Who the fuck is the redhead?
I'm not sure.
Because
Maybe
I recognize everyone else. I can't. Who the fuck is that?
That's a good question.
Like, obviously, that's Punk. That's Vince. That's the All in England. That's Cornette. That's Cody. That's the Punk AEW title. But who the fuck is the chick?
Let me see if I can blow this up on my end here.
It's not Steph. Who the fuck?
It's Taylor Swift.
See, that was
It's
my
Taylor
original.
Swift.
That was my original thought, but I didn't want to say it because of how stupid it sounded in my head. Oh man, that's good.
Fucking great.
Good. That's
That's
rich.
great.
All right, yep, that's a keeper. Take it down. We're good. All right, let's get into stuff that makes sense. Let's get to WWE. Let's go to SmackDown.
Wings!
Fuck it. I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face. All right. SmackDown was taped, but yeah, let's go through it. They opened the show with Randy and AJ and LA Knight in the ring, all talking. Then Nick Aldis comes out and books him in a three-way number one contenders match for New Year's Revolution in 2 weeks. So not this week's SmackDown, but next week's SmackDown.
Yeah, because this week's a clip show.
Right. So January 5th will be the New Year's Revolution edition of SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then they get into a three-way brawl. Yeah, whatever.
Near the end.
Then we have the Holiday Havoc match, which was basically an 8-man tornado tag, it looks like.
Yeah.
Bianca, Mia Yim, Shotzi, and Zelina Vega against Damage Control minus Dakota. Because Dakota
is still
she
hurt.
technically still hurt, yeah?
Yeah, she's still hurt.
Okay. In the end, the baby faces win the match. Mia Yim got the pin, putting was it Io through the table? I think it was Io.
Yeah. Yeah, because basically Mia Yim's about to get a push.
Why do we keep pinning the champion? What the fuck? Anyways,
well, because that way it justifies the push.
Then we see Jimmy giving Solo a pep talk. And then Roman asks Heyman to bring all this to him.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Lee retains the NXT North American title over Butch.
Yep.
Then we get a video recap of the U.S. title number one contenders tournament.
Mm-hmm.
They show Aldis in the locker room with Roman.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Aldis is not going to allow Roman to handle him the way he handled Adam Pearce, and
yeah.
Roman's not happy. That's basically the end of it.
Yeah.
They show Logan Paul cutting a promo about how he's impressed with Carmelo Hayes, but disgusted by KO, and then KO beats Carmelo.
Yeah. KO and Carmelo had a good match. KO went over clean, picked up Carmelo afterwards, gave him the handshake, made the kid look good. I mean, it was, it was good because, it was a nice even match for babyface versus babyface. Carmelo worked like a good underdog, and I'm just hoping from here on out, I'm hoping that the NXT chapter is just about fucking done, and Trips is like, it's time for this kid to be on fucking SmackDown, Sean. You need to let him go.
Right. Then AJ has a run-in backstage with
Good Brothers,
who I don't even remember when the fuck they were seen last.
Well, it's because one of them was hurt. I forget which one.
AJ basically he's doing the lone wolf thing, it looks like, for now.
Yeah, they asked, "Are we good?" And he said, "I don't know. Are we?"
And then they show Logan Paul with another promo saying Bobby Lashley has no chance against Santos. But before we get to that match, we have a very interesting vignette that's shown. So Karrion Kross basically runs down all the different things he's basically foretold since coming to SmackDown.
Yep.
The destruction, well, not quite full blown destruction, but the bloodline has crumbled.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned Rey Mysterio
Uh-huh.
and the whole thing with Dom.
Yep.
And what was the Drew? He mentioned Drew McIntyre losing his patience.
Mm-hmm.
And then he mentions how even the greatest proclamations are soon to be forgotten without a scribe, without their words, without authors.
Fuckers.
And this is a still image from the end of that vignette. So how do we feel about the possibility of the authors of pain returning to be with Cross?
I'm all fucking for it. Anyone that knows me knows, like, during prime black and gold NXT, there were three fucking tag teams there that I said need to be pushed to the fucking moon. One was the Revival, which fuck them now, because Dax has proven he's a fucking bitch.
Well, for better or for worse, you were correct.
Mm-hmm. The Ascension, who got buried on the fucking main roster because Vince turned them into fucking hokiness. Mm-hmm. They could have been the next Legion of Doom, but Vince tried to make them into Legion of Doom, not Road Warriors, and that was the problem. And the third one was the Authors of fucking Pain. This is where I'm a little conflicted, though. They got to be offering Paul Ellering a real good fucking deal, because the whole reason, like the reason Ellering managed the AOP in NXT was because he only had to go to Florida, and they were taping 2 to 3 week blocks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So he just had to do those, and then he would do the pay-per-view that they would do once every few months.
And then once AOP got to main roster, they tried using Drake Maverick.
Right. Well, they literally the first night AOP came out, they win their match, and then they just look at Ellering and we're like, hit the bricks. Mm-hmm. Now the thing is, because Ellering, and that was 5 years ago. Ellering's not getting any younger. And plus, Ellering dedicates a lot of his time to a lot of side projects. He does a lot of charitable work, and he trains people for the Iditarod, which is a very intense thing. It's not like a couple of weeks of training; it's months and months of training. He actually has the notoriety of training the first ever blind person to run the Iditarod. Yeah, and I mean, I could sit here gushing about Ellering for days. Like, at the time in NXT, when he showed up, at the time, like, that was like Samoa Joe had won the NXT title like a month or so prior. And I stopped watching because that's how much I couldn't fucking stand Joe, and I couldn't stand where the product was going. And the one thing that brought me back was Paul Ellering. So he's got to have a sweetheart fucking deal. And the thing is, some people, like the diehards, are going to remember the Authors. Newer people, not so much. And the thing is, they've really got to, they've got to do something, because remember, they had that whole fucking crypto scam and shit. And they were supposed to be running some fucking indie and like fucking like Riyadh or some shit that fell through, or Qatar or some shit. So, and the question is going to be, did they learn English? Because that's the big thing. And that, and that's the one thing that people, don't realize is one's from South America and one's from Europe, and neither of them speak English. And but I mean, they were, that once again, they're another Road Warriors, Powers of Pain type of fucking team that you could do a lot with, and putting them with Cross is very interesting. But also once again, like, Cross can talk. So why is Ellering there? Because now you're looking at a stable where you've got a figurehead who can talk, and and can be primed as a main eventer. But he has a female valet, and on top of it, you've got an advisor. Like it's a lot of moving parts. I'm not saying it won't work.
Mhm.
It's just going to be a juggling act. But I'm all fucking for it because I felt like the Authors of Pain got a really bad fucking shake when they came to the main roster. Like, yeah, they got the tag title shortly, and I know one of them got injured. I think it was Razor got injured.
Mhm.
Sticking him with Drake Maverick made no sense. Like, it was literally just they had to stick him with the manager because they didn't speak English. But Drake Maverick is a whole different energy from Paul Ellering.
You think?
Yeah. So that was never going to work. And that's when they were doing all the dumb shit. Like, remember, it was like Drake Maverick stole Bobby Roode's fucking robe and peed on it.
Mhm.
And like just childish shit. Like, that doesn't work for these guys. And like, obviously Trips is going to book them correctly because Trips was watching how Dusty was booking them in NXT.
Right.
So, and you need a formidable tag team. And trust me, like, once you get the tag belts off of Judgment Day, like, look at the tag teams they're setting up that are all fucking NXT alumni that are going to fucking tear the fucking house down. You know, DIY and fucking AOP worked well together. You got that right on the, fucking even, Gable and Otis, they are from different teams, but still, they'll fucking work with them well. You got a lot of options that can work with them. But also, number one, you got to call them the Authors of Pain. Don't call them AOP. Remember that was one of the things I hated. They're just like, started calling them AOP and nothing else. You need to call them the Authors of Pain. It strikes a chord more than just saying letters. And number two, and this is the most important, Michael fucking Cole, you listen to me, you little weaselly piece of fucking shit. Michael Cole, Wade Barrett, fucking Kevin Patrick, all of you, learn to pronounce their names correctly. There is a fucking play on words with their names. If you don't say the names correctly, nobody gets the play on words. You know what I'm referring to? Their names are Occam, not Akam, Occam and Razor. Occam's razor. Occam's razor is a term that is basically whatever is the path of least resistance. It's whatever is the most obvious answer is the one that is the one that you go with. Is basically the philosophical meaning of it. It's one of those things. It's one of the, like, I always like to like confuse people and like say like like when I have a weird thought and they're like, what was that? I was like, oh, I was just thinking about shaving Schrodinger's cat with Occam's razor. Like, and they're like, what? I was like, yeah, Chekhov. I was just like, I was being held hostage by Chekhov's gun. Like, just those philosophical terms, you just throw them out like there. And it's one thing. It's obviously people aren't going to get the reference because it's an intellectual thing. But the moment you fuck it up and people are like, why are they named? Like, that's why they're named this. So call them the right fucking names. That's all I ask. It's not that big of an ask.
All right. So then we get to the other U.S. title contenders tournament semi. And so the Profits are ringside with Lashley. And we get towards the end of the match. Two masked men attack the Profits, distract Lashley. Santos
gets the roll up,
gets the pin. And after the match, the masked men are revealed to be
Mexican Wolves,
Carrillo and Garza. I mean, I think I kind of called this at one point.
Yeah. You did.
So yeah, that's that.
As long as they don't bring up Carmen Sandiego.
Right. Then Pete Dunne is backstage, congratulates Dragon Lee. And then Pretty Deadly walk into the screen singing fucking Christmas carols, and Pete Dunne says, "Fuck your Christmas carols," basically. Aldous breaks up the fight between them and tells Butch to find a tag partner for New Year's Revolution so that they could face Pretty Deadly in 2 weeks.
So you think this is where Sheamus makes his comeback after being away for
Probably, yeah. Then your main event, AJ wins by DQ over Solo as Roman runs in and jumps AJ.
AJ was wearing regular ass pants. Like, it feels like he forgot his gear.
Kinda, yeah. Solo eventually gets back in the ring, makes it 2-on-1. Then Orton comes out to make the save. And then eventually it becomes a 3-on-3 when Jimmy Uso gets in, and then LA Knight. And then after they fight off the bloodline, the 3 baby faces start fighting each other, and that's how the show goes off the air. Yay. Hooray. This week, Raw last night was a clip show. SmackDown this coming Friday was a clip show.
And they're
a clip show, excuse me.
Yeah, and they were advertising. It's like a full week of clip shows. Apparently tonight, because tonight's the NXT clip show. Wednesday is
tonight's not a clip show. It was a pre-taped show.
No, tonight's clip show.
For NXT?
Yeah.
NXT was a pre-taped episode, dude.
No, the pre-taped episode was last week.
They pre-taped 2 episodes, the 19th and the 26th. We went over this before.
No. A couple of weeks ago, they pre-taped 2 episodes. Last week was fucking Ilya getting wheeled out on the stretcher. This week's a clip show. They advertised it last night. I was watching the Raw clip show. It was best of Raw, best of NXT. Wednesday is best of the Bump. Thursday is 2 different ones. Best of the Bump is on Peacock, and then Thursday is 2 different best of shows. There's like a preview of pay-per-view of PLEs for 2024 and something else. And then Friday is best of SmackDown. It's a week long of clip shows.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at a preview for tonight's live blog that's going to be done for the show. Eddie Thorpe and Dijak in an underground match. It's Noam Dar defending the Heritage Cup against Josh Briggs. The men's breakout tournament semis.
What the fuck?
And Chase U going against Out the Mud. And Cora Jade against Carmen Petrovich.
Huh.
I'm just because I remember they specifically announced they were that they had live NXT the 12th. Then the next night they pre-taped 2 episodes, which would have been last week and tonight.
Huh.
And then they're going to be back live.
Okay, my bad. I fucked up.
No, you're good. But that's your preview for tonight. So I just want to throw this out there. Number 1, and we kind of mentioned this last week already. So we think Briggs is done, like solo act from here on out at this point.
I fucking hope so. Like he needs to drop the fucking cowboy shit. Like it's funny when like he's been doing it so long that like even Cornette thinks he's from Texas. Like, no, dude, he's from fucking Worcester. Like, bro. Like Josh Briggs has so much potential. And I mean, dude, in all honesty, if you're afraid of pushing them as singles, like if you're really worried about that, like as far as like, because Briggs is another guy that like needs to be on the main roster now. He's been in NXT long enough where there's nowhere else for him to go there. Dude, fucking tell me they would not work well together. Put Briggs and Dijak together.
As long as it's not as sloppy as when they started the fucking Iron Survivor.
Right. I don't mean against each other. I mean as a tag team.
I know. Yeah. And I'm just saying, as long as they don't come off as sloppy as a team as they did against each other.
Right. I don't know what the fuck was going on there. I don't get it.
It might have just been a fluky coincidence that night. It was just a fucking that whole match was just a clusterfuck. So
Yes,
it only
was.
it only made sense for the beginning between them to be a clusterfuck as well. So
Right.
So yeah, so that's the first thing that catches my eye is Briggs solo action for the Heritage Cup that nobody cares about, but whatever.
Yeah, they need to get rid of that shit.
Eddie Thorpe and Dijak in an underground match. I mean, sure, okay.
I mean, for that crowd popped for the last underground match, so they'll probably pop for this. I mean, that crowd, I hate that fucking crowd so much.
Lexus King versus Riley Osborne in one of the semis.
That's right.
And then Obafemi, which is that the guy that did the pounce, the Monty Brown pounce? Or am I thinking of something else?
No, because no. If he didn't win that match, then yes.
Okay.
Because I thought Obafemi was going to be the guy to win this shit until they stuck Lexus King into there.
Right. He'll take on Tavion Heights in the other semi. Chase you.
Okay, so it's not Obafemi that did the pounce then, because the guy that did the pounce lost his match.
Okay. Chase you against Out the Mud. It said puts it all on the line. Are they putting like the university on the line? What the fuck's going on here?
Maybe. Because remember they were doing that shit where they're like, "Oh, we got to figure out a way to get the university out of debt." So
right, and then they show
because they raised like $30 with a car wash.
Right, and then Cora Jade 1-on-1 against Carmen Petrovich, and I think that's Cora's return match, right?
No, Cora had a tag match this past last week.
Well, her return singles match.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, so that's your preview for tonight.
So get this: one of the things that I noticed, WrestleNomics put up the quarter hours for the last week's NXT, and it showed everything.
Yep.
The biggest drop in viewership was the last segment of the show, and it was the tag match of Cora and Blair Davenport against Lyra and Ass Bitch.
Oh, Nikita, yeah.
It dropped like 85,000 people. And it killed it.
Saying Ass Bitch isn't a draw?
Ass Bitch isn't a draw. Cora's not a draw. Because the thing was, if you looked at like the ratings trend, it was almost a straight line for the whole show, and then boom, drop. And for it to drop in the last quarter, the last 15 minutes of the show,
yeah, that's something.
And actually, yeah, I think I need to retire the name Ass Bitch.
Why?
Because some people have been complaining, but also a friend of mine gave her a better name, so I think I need to start using that. Instead of calling Nikita Lyons Ass Bitch, from here on out, her name is Kung Fu Heifer.
Anyways, do you have the image of the top 5 segments of the year for WWE?
Yes, I do.
You'll notice a trend in these segments, by the way.
That's why I wanted to bring it up. Here we go. Where are we? Hashi, Shibata. Here we are.
Number 1, Bloodline. Number 2, Bloodline. Number 3, 2 dudes died. Number 4, The Rock. Number 5, Bloodline. Notice 1, 2, 4, and 5 are all part of the same Samoan family.
And all of them involve Roman.
Except for the tribute to Bray and Terry Funk, which
that's what I meant. All the Bloodline ones were like, it wasn't just because like there's been Bloodline segments on weeks where Roman isn't there, but all those Bloodline segments were centered around Roman being there.
Notice who's not in the top 5.
Anything from AEW?
Okay, yeah, I was thinking specifically about 2 names.
Oh, Cody and Punk.
Hey, look at the big brain on JJ. Just saying. Just fucking saying.
Everyone wants to talk about how great Cody is, and I've actually heard people like fucking John Alba saying that he's basically on the level of John Cena right now. No, he's not. No, he's not. They said like, you know, he's a John Cena level baby face. No, he's not. No, not by any means. And like, I'm sorry, but like, he may be still moving some merch, but Cody is not. Roman's keeping that belt through 2024. Mark my words. Cody's not the fucking guy. Like, he's still riding the wave of everything from this past year. Like, remember, he needed a year to rebuild after, because as much as people were like, oh my God, Cody was the comeback story from the Rumble to this, like, I think it was fucking stupid ass Conrad, because I was watching the 83 weeks year in review, and Conrad was, and they were like, comes back at the Royal Rumble and puts on a clinic. He came in at number 30, was there for 5 minutes. Fuck off. Like, Cody is not beating Roman. I don't even think Cody is facing Roman at Mania. I still firmly believe it's going to be Rock and Roman at Mania, because they left money on the table last year by not doing it. And the only reason they gave Cody is because it was a make good. And Punk, I said it last week and I will say it this week, because even Bischoff mentioned it in his year review about numbers as far as ratings for AEW and houses or whatever, is they show up for Punk and then they're gone. CM Punk fans are not wrestling fans. They don't stay for the whole product. They see Punk and then they're done. That's not what you can't build a company around that.
Correct.
You can't. It's kind of, it's like, I mean, like, you almost get this, you almost are getting it with MJF as well, where people tune in for MJF and then they turn it off. And so what happens? Tony starts putting MJF in like 4 different segments, and then it's just burnout. And like, yeah, and fucking, oh yeah, that's one other thing I got to bring up, because it's semi WWE related, but because I didn't bring it up before. Where are you?
Shooby dooby doo.
Dooby dooby doo.
Where are
you? There it is. So MJF did an interview with Sports Illustrated last week, and he basically said he hasn't signed a contract essentially with AEW yet.
Right.
Of course, half the people online are like, no, he did. This is just kayfabe for Sports Illustrated. But no, I am of the matter. And what I think, though, is, here's what I think. I think that Tony's going to make him drop the fucking belts this week, both of them, because MJF may need surgery. The moment MJF says, I need time to heal, Tony's going to freeze his contract, because it's supposed to be up in January. Mm-hmm. Tony's going to freeze his contract to hold on to him, which, if you recall, was something that everyone said Vince was an evil asshole for doing to Brody Lee years ago.
Okay.
But I guarantee, because it's Tony, it's going to be okay, because, like we said, everything Tony does is infallible. But I do believe by the end of 2024, you will see MJF in NXT.
A couple other quick things WWE related to go over. Number one, Bayley has apparently signed a new multi-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, a lot of negotiations happening.
Mm-hmm.
With different stars getting new deals. Also, rumor and conjecture. Some are saying Cody re-signed as recently as October. Some are saying he's still working on his original deal. A lot of balls being juggled in the air regarding the rumors about Cody Rhodes' contract. Who the fuck knows? And honestly, no offense, who the fuck cares? As far as things are concerned, we already previewed NXT for tonight. We know that's a clip show for SmackDown this Friday. As far as day one Raw next Monday, 4 matches currently booked so far. We have Seth defending the World Heavyweight title against Drew, Becky against Nia Jax, Rhea defending the Women's World title against Ivy Nile. Gee, I wonder who's winning that. And then Tegan and Natty facing Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark in women's tag action.
I think that's a number 1 contenders match.
Sweet. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I think that's it for WWE specifically. Although they are actually kind of in the news for one other thing, which I see you have a note for in our rundown, so I'll bring that up right now. MLW and WWE did reach a settlement on the case that Court Bauer would never let go, a court case that would not end,
Uh-huh.
even though it never got inside a courtroom. Um, do you have any specifics about what the settlement was, or is it very much closed door?
It was a closed door settlement, but basically TKO because like it's not Vince there anymore. TKO was just like, let's just shut the. It was what did I say when this fucking first came to matter? Court Bauer's just waiting for them to say, just give them some money to shut them up. Right. And it took long enough, but they settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. And
which is
isn't it funny that literally they make the settlement and then MLW announces they signed Matt Riddle. Mm-hmm. Right. Gee, I wonder where that money went.
Right. Well, that's not the only thing, because MLW announced something else a few days ago.
The only thing I saw of MLW was that they said that the news of them signing Riddle crashed their website as far as traffic goes.
Well, they announced another match for the same night they're going to have Mr. Riddle.
Oh. Kojima versus Sami Callihan?
Yes, sir. Huh.
Well, it looks like Sammy's coming back to MLW, which, I mean, that was his home for a while, and that's good.
That was announced last Friday night, actually. So 4 days ago. That'll be at the 2300 Arena. Again, same night, January the 6th. And that's for the TV taping. So it's also going to be on their TV eventually when they get around to it. So
yeah,
that'll be good for them.
Yeah. I mean, this could be a good turn. This influx of money could be a good turn for MLW. It just depends on how Court spends it.
Right.
I mean, because like Sammy was an integral part of MLW getting that popularity again during the New York studio era, which they really need to get back to that. I miss that shit. That whole format, wherever they were doing that shit, I loved that setup. It looked good on the screen. They need to get back to that. If they are able to get back to that and are able to do like TV tapings like once a month or so besides the big events, because it's like them doing shows at 2800 at the 2300 is fun. It's a great atmosphere and everything, but on video it looks like shit. They, the studio shit was well lit. It was spacious for a studio taping. It just they need to get back to that. And I'd like to go to some of those tapings because New York's a lot closer than Philly.
All right. So we obviously have the New Year coming up. So we're going to, I think you want to do some New Year's predictions, but I want to ask you about one thing that we discussed behind the scenes before we get into that.
Okay.
A certain somebody put out a tweet on the night of Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah, I've got it here.
Very good. I was hoping you did.
You know I wouldn't let that go.
Basically, begging and pleading for bookings.
Keep begging and pleading, you piece of shit.
The guy Ring of Honor tried so hard to make something out of and just never could back in the day. Before he just started to book himself completely in Japan and then tried being the Jeff Cobb that never existed before Jeff Cobb came around.
And tried doing it at Impact as well.
I mean, we all know about the trials and tribulations that Mike has put out there about himself, and it is what it is, but at the same time, when you have all the negative stuff that's out there about you as well, it's kind of hard to sympathize for him.
Your ass got Me Too'd several times, fucker, and then you tried to offset that by fucking putting up fake suicide notes left and right.
Right.
Several times over the course of 2 years.
Right.
For those of you listening to the audio only, we are referring to Mike Elgin.
Yes, my apologies. I didn't verify that. Just, I don't know, man. Plus, at this point, no, not that I'm trying to be an ageist or anything. How old is Mike Elgin at this point? He's got to be around the early 40s, I
He's,
think, right?
I think he's early 40s. Yeah.
Oh, no, he's only 37.
He just looks old as fuck.
The bald head doesn't help, probably.
Well, yeah, because he kept. Remember when he used to have that awful fucking French braid ponytail?
Yep.
Yeah, but no, like it's amazing how like all of these guys think that like, oh, speaking out was 4 years ago. Now I could start getting it. All the scumbags are coming out of the woodwork. Fucking Elgin, fucking Joey Ryan is putting out feelers. Fucking Marty Skrull putting out fucking feelers. Like, Alberto fucking Del Rio, fucking, I don't know if you saw the footage. He showed up at some indie with like 20 people in attendance at a giant ass high school gym.
Oh, wait, fuck off.
What?
No.
What?
See, I don't remember this.
What?
It was also almost a decade ago. This motherfucker was the New Japan Intercontinental Champion at one point.
Yeah.
Jesus, fuck! No wonder they scrapped the belt. Fucking A.
Uh-huh. You don't want to be fucking in line with sex pests. That's what you do.
God damn. I didn't even fucking know that until I just read
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Oh, man. Anyways, although really it was pick your poison because the guy who beat for the belt was fucking Kenny Omega, so whatever. All right. As far as 2024 is concerned, and we'll basically be closing up shop with that, aside from one little thing I have here that's a feel-good story for the holidays.
Yeah.
2024. Let's start with you, Mr. Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
What hopes and wishes do you have for 2024?
See, here's my hopes and wishes. I'm hoping for Roman versus Rocket Mania. As I said, I think it's going towards that route anyways. I don't see Roman losing the belt. In all honesty, depending on where my health is and where my finances are, I'm really considering trying to go down to Philly for just Hall of Fame and Stand and Deliver.
Okay.
Like if I can figure out some way just to go for those, and then I'll watch Mania from my hotel room. Like, I'm fine with that. Like, I'd rather be able to do that. That way I'm not spending an arm and a leg, because you can usually get tickets for Stand and Deliver on the cheap. And Hall of Fame, it would be nice. I would like to attend a Hall of Fame ceremony at least once. We also got to start thinking about who we're predicting for Hall of Fame next year, because Trips has complete control of that now.
Well,
I think I know who the headliner for it's going to be.
Paul Heyman.
Yes,
we pretty much have been saying that for a while. I feel like we've pretty much been saying that ever since they announced Philly as the site for 40.
Yeah, I think Paul's going to be the headline, and I think we're going to get 2 to 3 ECW alumni.
Well, let me think here. Well, Rob is already in there.
Yes.
Dreamer's not in there yet, but still active.
Right.
So I'll call that question mark. The Dudleys are already in there.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Original Sheik in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, he's in the alumni section.
They probably put him in back in when they were in Detroit, probably.
It was one of the times they did the legacy wing.
So it's Sabu go in, maybe?
That's a good possibility, especially since he's done and retired now.
If Taz wasn't an asshole and working in AEW, I think Taz would have been one.
Yeah, I know that I mentioned it before, and I have to check with Matt James. He has a running bet going with Justin Tunis as to between two ECW guys who's going to get him first. I think it was Raven and Sandman or Raven and Dreamer, and I said Rhino's going to go in before either of them.
I think could get in as long as he stays clean like he is right now.
Yeah.
And I'm mentioning this because he has a WWE lineage on top of the ECW career he had. Is there a chance for Just Incredible?
I hope so. I if not this year, like at one point, like he that's something he does deserve.
Mm-hmm.
It's it would be nice. It
Trying to
would
think
be nice.
what other. Trying to think of who else.
I'm pretty sure Shamrock's going in this year because he's inked that legend deal.
Right. And you mentioned like Rhino and Rave would both be good nominees too. You mentioned them. I'm trying to think of who else would.
Shane Douglas is never going in.
Right. That's why I'll be honest. It's probably why I never even thought of him because I just assumed that would be a no anyways.
Yeah.
Jericho's in AEW, so that's a no.
Yeah, that's not happening. I don't think he's ever going to get in now.
I'll throw two random names out there that I know one isn't in.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I don't think is in.
Mm-hmm.
Too Cold Scorpio.
That would be nice.
And Buff.
Bagwell, I don't see going in at all, ever.
Okay. Although Bagwell, he was never in ECW though, was he?
No, he wasn't.
I was thinking WCW for some reason.
He tagged with Scorpio in WCW.
Who else was in? I think what I really need to think of is who the fuck was in the Alliance. That would help me. Did Spike get put in with the Dudleys, or was it just Bubba and Devon?
I think it was just Bubba and Devon. So Spike would be nice.
I have a name, and it goes with the list that's been popularly going around based off the news you mentioned about Triple H taking over the inductions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm mentioning it because it actually links with Paul Lee, because he technically was like one of the two original Paul E guys when Paul Lee was starting to manage way back in the day.
Okay.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Bam Bam's already in, dude.
I thought he wasn't in because I saw him on the list.
I thought he went in. There was a year when he was put in the video game. Really I thought he went in that year.
Hang the fuck on. No.
Yeah, I thought he went in like 07.
Still scrolling. No. MMA, acting. No.
Oh, no?
Nope.
Okay. Then, yeah, he should go in posthumously.
Yeah, I mean, because he was, not only is he directly linked to Paul E as being part of the tag team that was the first group ever managed by Paul E. Heyman when he became a manager way back in the, what was it, the early 80s, I think?
Yeah.
Even before that. Like, this is when Paul E was working the indies.
Yeah. Dennis Coralluzzo, yep.
And Bam Bam Bigelow's pro wrestling debut was in that studio show that Paul Lee put together back when he was still the events coordinator at Studio down in New York City, when he did the fucking Man of the Year award thing for Flair.
Yeah, he advertised with Bam.
That was Bam Bam's Bigelow, Bam Bam's debut.
Yep.
But then you also factor in, I mean, he fucking put Taz on the map basically with their TV title stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He had great stuff with Shane Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
He was, he was put in a great position when he was first in WWE in the late 80s, where he was working with Hogan, and he had, what was it, Oliver Humperdinck was his manager, I think.
Yep.
And I think he was working Andre at one point, and then when he came back, he was he worked with Luna, then he worked with Ted DiBiase in the Corporation, and obviously he had the LT main event at Mania 11.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of, and then all the WCW bullshit that he did after he left, but I mean, I mean, plus you're in Philly, which is right near where he grew up in Asbury Park. I think it makes too much sense to not do it if Hunter is really
Yeah.
things.
Right. And that's the thing is going to be the major deciding factor is, because that Vince was always not big on posthumous inductions. I think that'll be different under Trips. I think, and it makes you wonder now. I wonder if they're still going to do the Warrior Award.
I mean, Dana's not with the company anymore. I kind of
right. But I mean, maybe
they might just because it's still tied in with Connor's cure, technically.
Right, and maybe
so
Trips will make it the way that Warrior wanted the award to be.
Right.
With the one of the backstage people who deserves it getting it. So that's a good possibility.
Which they did I think there was one
last year. Last year.
They had a woman from the corporate building that
Yeah.
That was last year?
Yep.
Yeah. So that yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so yeah, that's back around to stuff, for predictions. Hall of Fame is going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. My other hope as far as things go that I've been thinking about is when NXT goes to the CW, I really think what they need to do is I've been saying it ad nauseum every week is they need to get the fuck out of the PC. Mm-hmm. What I think they need to do, I would film Level Up at the PC. I would bring in people, charge them $5 a head or whatever, and just film a whole bunch of Level Up stuff, put in the can. Make the PC shows for the greenest of the green, who need quote unquote TV time, and put that up on fucking Hulu and Peacock. Mm-hmm. Use that for Level Up. For actual NXT, what they need to do is one of two things. Either they need to find a building there's one in Miami. It's like the Miami Sports Complex or whatever. It's one of the places that the Grams used to run frequently. It's still there.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I would get into a long-term rental contract with those with whoever owns that, and do shows out of there to a point where you can keep equipment there, so you don't have to keep transporting it back and forth, and shoot there either weekly or 2 weeks at a time, putting stuff in the can. I would do that, or I would go another route, which would be interesting. I don't know if they would, but I would actually look into finding real estate somewhere in Florida and building a small to mid-size arena. Something.
I'll even give you two more options too.
Yeah, it's something that's larger than the PC, but not as big as, something that can house 1,500 people. Make it look bigger than studio wrestling, but it doesn't have to be huge.
Kind of like a small concert venue.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Something like that can hold 1,500 to 2,000 and make it look decent. And, teach, the one thing that these current recruits don't need to do that people had to do in FCW is street team. Mm-hmm. And go out and actually paper the place. And with the growth of everything, especially going to be on TV on the CW, mm-hmm. people will come. All you got to do is put television taping with the CW network logo. People will show up, but they need to go out there and fucking flyer, because they need a fresh audience for when they do that. They need people who are crisp to be on television on that stage, and not the people who are way too green. And they need a crowd that are casual wrestling fans. They do not need the friends and family crowd who think they dictate everything. They need one of those options.
I'll give you two more options.
Okay.
For how they can do that with NXT. One, mm-hmm. and we mentioned this at one point before, pick any college campus that's within half hour, 45 minutes of the PC that has a smaller, because you don't need a big 10, 15,000 seat basketball arena. But I know, like, I think it was I think it was USF. We were talking University of South Florida. We were talking about at one point.
Yeah.
They have two multi-purpose arenas. One's bigger for like basketball. The
Mhm.
other's for smaller sports that don't draw as many, but you still have like 3,000 seats.
Right.
That would fit perfect.
Exactly.
The second thing I think you could do, you could make it a touring show throughout the state of Florida, I think.
They could. It's just a matter of
Take your
making sure
Florida
you keep
touring
the production
sites.
costs low.
Right. But you can take your the towns and cities you're using currently in your Florida loops, your Fort Myers, Ybor City, wherever it may be,
Right.
and make those your NXT taping stops and rotate them.
Right.
You can
Right.
do that too, I think.
Right, because as it is with the CW deal, they're going to be making around 500K and change per per episode.
Mm-hmm.
So you really want to keep your costs down, because as it is, AEW's spending more than that on an episode of Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, granted, WWE owns all their equipment, and granted, if you're on a small loop in Florida, you're not traveling nearly as far. But that's why it would be good to work a deal with one venue, and then because as it is, their costs are so low at the PC because they still use Full Sail students. They still use interns from Full Sail to do the camera work, do the graphics work, to do all that stuff, and it goes towards course credit. So luckily, since the inception of NXT at Full Sail, that's why their production cost has been so low for that, because they're basically using free labor.
Yeah.
And now they're getting paid for a bigger network spot, but they need to make it look bigger, because and Bischoff has said it, and no matter how many people you can pack in there, it's still studio wrestling, and you need it to be a little bit bigger than studio wrestling. And then in the meantime, make Level Up something interesting. Make it an hour long, because it's on fucking Peacock. It's not like you're adhering to, or not even Peacock, it's on Hulu. So it's not like you're adhering to a time slot. You can make your episodes an hour long, because it's better than 30 minutes with 2 matches in it and a bunch of vignettes. And especially you need, a lot of these people need way more seasoning,
right,
before you just throw them out there. And that way, come the end of, if you work on that, come mid 2025, after you've gotten your groove on and gotten things going, that way when you go to do the 2025 breakout tournament, the people that you're using have had matches in front of crowds on Level Up and learned hard camera, all shit like that, before going to actual NXT. That's what's missing. It's Cornette talks about how they need an OVW. They can have an OVW. Level Up needs to be their OVW.
Mm-hmm.
They need that step between nothing and national television, and that's what it is.
Right. I'm going to give 2 hopes and a prediction.
Okay.
The prediction is something I've been saying for a while now, but I'm going to reiterate it, because it's either going to come true or it's not going to come true within a month. I still predict Bayley's going to win the women's belt Royal Rumble. I've been saying.
I thought you said she was going to win the Rumble.
The men's Rumble, I'm still out to lunch on.
But I thought you said Bayley was going to win the women's Rumble, not the belt.
That's what I just said.
You said she's going to win the women's belt at the Rumble.
I think they're going to put her in the Rumble match. I don't think they're going to have her face Io Sky.
Yeah, I think she's going to win the Rumble. Yeah, I agree with you on that. And face Io at Mania. Yeah.
Right. I think that's where we're at now, because they've been doing a slow enough burn where I don't see them pulling the trigger that quick anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bayley win the Rumble makes sense. Prediction number 1. I don't know how immediate this is going to be, but it feeds into some of the hopes you just talked about. Shawn Michaels will no longer be the lead writer for NXT.
God, I fucking hope so.
That is a prediction. I honestly believe Hunter, as he's regaining fuller control of the product, he'll see the writing on the wall and see that Shawn, he can keep him as
Figurehead.
the figurehead on screen, but as far as actual writing and development is concerned, he's got to go in a new direction. And
Yes.
I think he's going to see that and finally pull the trigger on that sometime in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
My other hope for 2024, I hope
Uh-oh, you froze. Oh no, Brian froze. I apologize to everyone. I need to DM Brian. I apologize. Are you
Hi.
unfrozen? There you are. You were frozen.
Yeah,
So you said I propose, and then you froze.
So I hope for two people to return/arrive in some type of WWE. Yeah.
You said, I'm sorry, what was that?
Am I still freezing?
No, you didn't freeze. I got a DM, and so I didn't see what you said. I didn't hear what you said.
Okay. So I have two people that I want to see return/debut on WWE programming in 2024.
Yes. Okay.
The first one, the longer I don't.
Shit. So you're gonna have to repeat that because you just said the longer and it froze again.
All right. So the longer this person is not on TV, the longer shot I feel like it is for them to be a part again of the programming.
Mm-hmm.
But I sincerely hope we can see Big E back in the ring at some point.
Yes.
The hope as far as the new person to come on board, I hope Alex Hammerstone gets a contract.
God, I hope so. You're right. Yeah.
He's out there. He's available.
Mm-hmm.
Just go get him.
Yeah.
Go get him before Japan offers him the world. Go get him before Tony Khan offers him the world.
And we never see him again.
Right. Snatch him up and just run him.
Yeah.
Go with it. Yeah. Just yeah. Go get him. Go get Alex Hammerstone. Make it happen. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. All right, real quick before we go.
Mm-hmm.
A little feel-good holiday story.
Okay.
Batista.
Oh yeah.
Teamed up over the holiday with social media YouTube star Mr. Beast.
Mr. Beast.
They took on the task of rescuing 100 stray dogs this week.
Mm-hmm.
Batista owns 4 rescue dogs himself. And even took one of the dogs himself.
Aww.
And Mr. Beast even helped the families that were adopting any of the dogs by giving them free pet food and pet insurance for the life of the dog. I'm happy to announce that Mr. Beast and Batista met their goal and found new homes for all 100 dogs in the span of 2 days. Between the 23rd and 24th, they were able to find homes for 100 dogs, and they now have good homes with food and health insurance. And yeah, so a very heartwarming holiday story to wrap up the show, I thought. So good on Batista, good on Mr. Beast, and yeah, That's my feel good holiday story for the
Always
day.
take care of your rescue dog.
Right, Titus?
That's right. He's my buddy. Even though he barks when Daddy's working, he's still my boy. Mwah. Yes, you're a good boy. Here, one more.
That being said, do you have anything else, Mr. Alexander?
Let me see here. I'm just going through the overlays I had to see if I forgot anything. Oh yeah, Ali is on the fucking gas. You cannot tell me otherwise. That's growth hormone.
Praise be to Allah.
That's fucking HGH.
That's
called no wellness policy where I'm going.
That doesn't look right at all.
I know.
Yikes. Good Lord.
Yeah.
You know what it kind of reminds me of?
What?
There's certain guys that are so small that the amount of muscle they have just doesn't look right on them, even if it's in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Like I kind of felt that about Pac at points.
Yep.
Even Buddy a little bit at times
Yeah.
has kind of been like, oof. I mean, not as much now, but like I think he's kind of grown into it a little bit more somehow, some way.
Yeah.
I don't know how he would, but yeah.
Right.
No, that's not that. No.
Right.
No.
Like you're not Jonathan Gresham. You're not pulling that off.
Right. Just no, Ali. No. Sorry. That being said, that's episode 106 of White Heat, presented by Brian and JJ Incorporated. Why? Because I fucking said so. Yeah. Happy Boxing Day. Happy Kwanzaa. And since we're not going to see you until 2024, happy fucking New Year.
Yeah.
He's at JJ_Alexander on the Twitter X machine. I'm at Brian Katie. That all being said, Mr. Alexander.
Yes, sir.
I know we talked about them last week, but fuck it. We'll still use this as our closing for this week. Say fuck tough and talented wrestling.
Fuck tough and talented wrestling. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and share this with your friends. Help us expand our audience in the new year.
Fuck yeah.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
Everyone have a safe and happy new year. If you're drinking, please be responsible and have a driver.
Yeah, if you drink and drive, I will not pay your bill.
I'd like to do a song of great social and political import.
It goes like this, like this.
Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? My friends all drive Porsches, I must make amends. Worked hard all my lifetime, no help from my friends. So Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? Oh Lord, won't you buy me a color TV? Dialing for dollars is trying to find